Welcome inside the Treehouse. It is time to leave your worries outside and join me, Dan O'Malley, Trey Trenholm, and newly inducted Treehouse law enforcement officer Raj Sharma.
Yay!
When you fight crime in this Treehouse, you get recognized.
Thank you.
Raj,
I didn't use the word hero, and
I don't think I did either.
Neither did the cops, but I will tell you.
But they said thanks for the help.
They did.
So, if you haven't heard it yet, do us a favor. Do yourself a favor. Go to patreon.com/treehouseonair. You can hear all about how our hero, Raj, from here on to be known as the Bollywood Batman, stopped crime dead in its tracks.
Yes.
And when the criminal said, "Who are you?" Raj said, "What's up?"
I'm Brown Man.
I'm just a guy on a phone talking to the police, telling them, "Can you please come and stop this guy from doing all the bad stuff that he's doing?" So maybe it was all those Bollywood hero movies that you've been posting on Instagram. So it got into you. It got into your veins, into your soul. And so when you saw this man doing bad, you, like the Indian Hulk, tore all your clothing and saved the day.
Wait, I'd like to contribute to this show and how much we admire and do things for police and fire, and how they respond in kindness to us and how much they do for us. And I was like, you know what? This would be one of those things where I have a new growing up. As a person of color, I've been stopped a lot for no reason and all that stuff. So you have a distrust of police, and this show has kind of changed that for me. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to call these people. And I didn't want to, in my head, I'm like, they're going to pull up and they're going to arrest me, throw me on the ground. I'm like, I'm the one calling. I'm like, no, I'm not.
I'm on the phone with you right now.
But yeah, I think it's years ago, I probably would have let it go. There's insurance on these things, and there's that, and there's this.
Not always, not on those things.
Did you do a snazzy little dance number, though, in any point in this?
Which is weird. We did, and the cops knew the routine, which was very strange.
So it turns out the Bollywood films are accurate to life.
Well, yeah, we had the whole end of Slumdog Millionaire. We just did it right there on Trinity Mills.
Kids crawling out of the crapper, knowing the entire routine.
It was really weird. I'm like, you guys know this too? And they're like, how'd you know? I was like, let's get this going. And the criminal doing the same dance with the handcuffs. It was very sweet. It was a nice send off for his newfound home, in jail.
Well, I wonder though. I wonder if in jail, and eventually prison, where it sounds like he's going to end up.
Yes.
The winter storm back in 2021, a lot of the people that did not lose power, it was because they were on the same grids as hospitals, police stations, firehouses. So that means if you're in jail, you're probably going to have heat.
Correct.
Whereas the rest of us law-abiding citizens froze our asses off thanks to ERCOT. And as if things couldn't get worse for the public relations nightmare that is ERCOT, the Electric Reliability Council of Texas, the most ill-formed entity in the entire state.
Do you think they, when they say that out loud, they actually say out the acronym, they just giggle? Reliability.
I think they do. And then I think right after that, in a meeting, when everyone laughed, HR sent out a memo and said, you can't use the R word anymore.
Yeah.
It's now off the table. Don't use it. Just go Electric Council of Texas.
Hey, you got to give them credit. They put the lie in reliability.
Well said, Raj. And had you said that in 20, 25 minutes, we'd have ended the show on that. But as it is, we have a little bit.
You'll forget. I'll say it again.
That's true. Yeah, usually as a callback at the end of the show. So if you're listening right now, in 20-ish minutes, skip ahead. Raj is going to say something very similar, and it's going to still be hysterical, and then we're going to end the show, and everyone's going to be happy on a Monday. But you're not wrong. ERCOT I remember seeing the news story, maybe a month or two ago,
Yeah.
that ERCOT said, "Hey, when kind of like Ned,
Yep.
is it Ned Stark in I almost said Lord of the Flies in Game of Thrones, kind of like the Starks in Game of Thrones." He's up there saying, "Brace yourselves, winter is coming," and ERCOT says, "We're ready." And then the most recent headline, which might be one of my favorites ever.
Yeah.
ERCOT cancels program to boost power reserves ahead of potentially precarious winter. So I'm going to rephrase that slightly shorter. ERCOT cancels winter planning.
Yeah. Yes. And the logic behind this is it has not. Winter hasn't shown up yet. And so they're like, "Hey, everything's good." I'm like, "You do there's another year coming. Like there's still more."
Maybe that's the new R that they've redefined in ERCOT. So instead of reliability, which they're obviously not allowed to use, at least not with us in the public, maybe it's. I lost my train of thought. What was it you said, Raj?
Oh no, they basically was like, I think if I read it right, they're like, "Well, it hasn't been a rough winter yet, so we don't have to boost our reserves."
Right, which means the R in there now stands for reactionary.
Yes.
Like they should be EPCOT, proactive, but they're not. So they're ERCOT, they're reactive, and that leaves a bunch of us frozen in our houses to starve and die in some cases.
Yeah, I'm lucky in the when the first one happened, same grid as the hospital, and then when we moved to this place, same grid as 2 hospitals and a surgery center. So
The full story on this is ERCOT has actually sought mothballed and decommissioned power plants to fire up for the winter, but none of them were willing to reactivate. They basically called around to all these different energy companies and asked them, "Hey, will you turn this old plant on?" And then those companies basically said, "Yeah, if you pay us." And then ERCOT said, "Well, we don't really do that." And then the energy provider said, "Well, we don't really do that either." So now they're just stuck.
yeah, I like how they had a plan, but didn't check to see if the plan was the plan. And
Yeah.
then when they
Our
called,
plan. Go ahead, Trey.
Just didn't want to pay for the plan.
Yeah,
I guess they thought. I guess they got on Groupon and thought maybe they could do something else.
No, they actually thought that these energy companies who are in the business of making money would actually volunteer their old plants and pull the cover off of it, blow off the dust bunnies, and flip it on just because ERCOT asked nicely. And that's not how it typically works. ERCOT is Oliver walking to the front with the bowl, asking for more porridge, and the energy company goes, "More?" And they say, "F off, kid."
Very well done with the Oliver Twist reference, man.
Thank you. I am occasionally cultured.
Yeah, that was really nice.
But now that I've been mildly cultured, now I'm going to completely debase myself by comparing ERCOT to an act that I mentioned they should do in the summer. So I'm going to bring that back right now. So ERCOT saying, "Hey, we're ready for winter." They said the same thing in the summer or pre-summer. They said, "We're ready for summer." And guess what? They weren't. And at that time, what did I tell them? You guys need to go eat a bag of dicks. Why? Because you're telling us to conserve and not use our air conditioning because we're sweating balls. No, you get it figured out. The more you tell us not to do something, the more we want to do the thing. Now they're telling us we're ready for winter. All right, ERCOT, it's time to break out your bib because you're about to eat a whole bunch of dicks. And I want you to be ready. It's going to be like a crab boil. You're going to throw a bunch of dicks in a pot with some seasoning and some potatoes and some corn. Then you're going to invite the neighborhood over for a backyard dick boil. You're going to throw them all out onto the table, onto some newspaper, and you're going to dick through. I use that intentionally, and you're going to eat the meat, and you're going to suck the head, and then the kids are going to be in a dry pool playing with them before they get eaten.
Wow. Okay. I mean, very, very vivid imagination there, Daniel.
It's not an imagination. I want this to happen. I want it to come to fruition. I want the entire council of ERCOT lined up at a dick table and eat them all every time they say, "We're ready."
Yeah. Okay. I just all I did was I just turned the heat on and opened all the windows. That's all I've done.
Joke's on you because across the street is the Dick Boyle. Just all the essences just filling your nose coming across the street. And you know it. You know the smell. You're like, ERCOT's having a party.
I thought it was just the Papados, but turns out.
You're listening to the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
You're in the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
This segment of the Treehouse brought to you by the Dallas Comedy Club. Comedy 5 nights a week at the Dallas Comedy Club in Deep Ellum in Dallas. For ticket info, dallas-comedyclub.com. This weekend at the Dallas Comedy Club, it is Tricks with 2 X's. It's Frankie Tricks, a guy man. One of North America's rising comedic stars, winner of the Boston Comedy Festival, the World Series of Comedy, and winner of Just for Laughs 42 Big Break competition. He is at the Dallas Comedy Club this weekend. For ticket info, dallas-comedyclub.com. Your new home for comedy in DFW, the Dallas Comedy Club. Funny happens here. And also this segment brought to us by our dear friends at Cook DFW Roofing and Restoration. Give them a call for your free roof inspection, 833-COOK-DFW. That's 833-COOK-DFW. And their website, cookdfw.com. So thank you to our lovely sponsors. Thank you to Raj for saving the day. Thank you for ERCOT for continuing to provide us with stellar content. Although at this point, I kind of wish they'd just do their job. And speaking of doing your job, I think we all can agree one of the most difficult jobs there is on the planet is teacher.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how many teachers you guys know or have known in your lives, but I come from a family of teachers. My grandmother was a teacher. My mom for a while was a teacher. My aunt, my father started out as a teacher. And so I know what teachers go through on many levels. And I understand when they snap. And I'm a little bit biased. And when I say a little bit biased, I'm almost every single time going to side with the teacher. There are exceptions, don't get me wrong. There, like any profession, there are some bad ones, and they do and say some things they shouldn't. But for the most part, underpaid, underappreciated.
Mm-hmm.
It's really a hellacious job.
Yep.
And after the COVID lockdowns, and I say this because at the time I was living with my ex and her 2 children, and if you didn't gain an enormous amount of respect for teachers after the COVID lockdown and you were trying to teach your kids at home, then you're an idiot. Because that it almost killed a lot of people and a lot of kids.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
the homeschooling, not the COVID.
Yeah. COVID was looking like a good option at one point.
At a certain point, if that's where if I was in that situation and I got like 3-4 kids staring back at me and they're expecting me to teach them some stuff, I'm like, you go to school. Yeah. Or you know what? You stay here. I'm gonna go to school. I'd rather take my chances with the vid.
Yeah, my girlfriend all through college, she graduated and became a teacher, and I remember going to visit her in her class, and they had to buy their own, and I don't know if this is still true, but they have to buy their own, like if you want to do crafts or projects or stuff with the kids, you have to buy your own stuff. So like all the crayons and all the whatever the paper stuff that you got to buy, she had to buy all. So I was like, let me just do that. Let me buy it. And I bought their stuff for the year, which was only a couple $100, but I'm like, you have to pay for this out of pocket and you're not getting paid that much. So right. Yes, they do have a tendency to, and they drink a lot. I don't know if you've ever been with a group of teachers, but yeah,
there's a reason.
Drink. They drink a lot. Yeah, it's fantastic. If you get a chance to drink with teachers or go to rehab, pick the latter.
It's like as a kid, you never wanted to go to like the parent teacher conferences that you had to go to, and you had to sit outside while your parents and the teacher talked about you. But as an adult,
yeah,
there's like an actual teachers conference someplace, like at a hotel somewhere, and I don't even know if they're allowed in Vegas, because Vegas might be like, no. It's
yeah,
too much. We can't have that many teachers at once. But if you can, that would be a party to go to, because they're going to
sure.
steam.
Yeah, I had a buddy of mine who was a teacher. He used to teach at the juvenile detention center. So all the like really bad kids, they still have to go to school. And he's like, "Hey man, come to my house. There's a party." And I was like, "Okay," because it's going to be me and a bunch of teachers. And I went, "Wow, that sounds boring." And I walked into his house, and I can't even make this up, and it's burned into my brain. I walked in, and there was a lady standing there, sweater, no pants, shoes. That means she had taken her shoes off to take her pants off, and then put her shoes back on. And she has an industrial size bottle of Jaeger. And I've never met this lady before. I just opened the door, and this is all I see. And she looks at me and she goes, "Buckle the F up." And I was like, and I just remember slowly shutting the door and going back to my car. I'm like, I can't. I'm leaving. Like, I can't
really? No,
I
see,
was like,
I have to see what she means. I have to go in and experience that. I had to see what she means by buckle the F up, because ironically, she can't buckle anything. She's not wearing any pants.
Yeah. And then I called my buddy Richie the next day, and I was like, "How's the party?" He goes, "Dude, I woke up in the tub." And I was like, "Yep, that's why I left."
And he was wearing her sweater.
And she was wearing his pants.
So the other day, I don't know how viral this went, but it was definitely major in North Texas. Because nowadays, if a teacher snaps in a classroom, you're not just having students witness it. Because nowadays, the students all have their own phones, which means they can record/live stream this stuff. So when teachers snap these days, it usually ends up online for everyone to witness, as opposed to just the kids in the classroom. So this latest incident, and I haven't had a chance to completely verify this, so I'm going off of internet knowledge here and captions. This is a teacher at Rowlett High School. And he just, I don't know what preceded this. I don't know what's happened since. I just know what happens in this moment, where he absolutely loses his mind because, and his words, he's tired of being disrespected.
Okay.
Damn it! You chose for me to be hell to fire on you. What you do is I bring your right hand to my face.
So that's a chair he just kicked across the room.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in the beginning, he actually mentioned something about, "You're making me bring hellfire on you." Mm-hmm. Which, if that's for a teacher, that's a hell of a catchphrase.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it! You chose for me to be hell to fire on you. What you do is I bring your right hand to my face. I'm going through all type of shit. I'm tired of being goddamn disrespected every goddamn.
That's where he, you know how Bobby Knight threw the chair across the court?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
This guy showed up, Bobby Knight, because he saw the chair, kicked that bitch across the room, and then he went over to it, picked it up, and slammed it back down on the ground again. And we all realize in the teacher's mind, he wants that to be the kid, but it can only be the chair.
I'm going through all type of shit. I'm tired of being goddamn disrespected every goddamn day. And all I want to bet you, I very nicely told you what to do. I don't have to touch your goddamn phone. But I wouldn't even come to that. It wouldn't even come to it. You gotta do what you're supposed to.
Now, what's bad about this is you have some kids that are just, you have two kinds of kids in that classroom. Ones that are witnessing, they're kind of shocked and like, "Oh my God, what do we do? Don't move." And then there's the kid who's laughing at the whole thing.
Yeah.
He just thinks the whole thing is hysterical. And that kid is next to the kid that this teacher's screaming at.
Nicely told you what to do. You don't gotta touch my phone. I don't have to touch your goddamn phone. But I wouldn't even come to that. It wouldn't even come to it. You gotta do what you're supposed to do. Don't say anything else to me. All right, cool. Don't you come crying. Enough is a goddamn enough.
Bro, what the fuck?
You know it's serious when there are two things that get thrown out. One is, dude, There was no dude here. This was not a dude situation. The other is when you throw goddamn in the middle of stuff where it doesn't normally fit. And that's what he does here at the end. Here, listen to this again.
Enough is a goddamn enough.
Bro, what?
Enough is a goddamn enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trey?
I'm curious. Is the video to this? I saw a clip. I didn't hear the audio. Is this guy? And then is there another adult kind of holding him back?
No, this is
That's a
free range
good one.
teacher.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which for the students, you got to keep in mind, if he's like, it starts with a chair. Don't push him. That's where the kid who's laughing doesn't understand what could happen, because you keep laughing at the event and you may become the chair. It could escalate in the blink of an eye.
Yeah. That
is because there is something that the newer generations, there is a concept they do not understand. And I say this, and it's work, school, everything. And it's a principle we learned because we didn't want to get our asses whipped. And the principle is fly below the radar. So
yeah.
Not only does it occasionally work as a program director of the Eagle, but it is also sage advice for school survivability.
Yes, and this is also one of those things where if you ever in your life have wondered, man, I wonder what Samuel L. Jackson would be like as a teacher. This was his Snakes on a Plane. Like this.
Oh.
This was
Yeah, this is the teacher Snakes on a Plane. But the next step is this is going to be Sam Jackson's like next Oscar, right? Because now he's got to play this guy. And it's going to be great. I'm going to be lined up to see it opening night.
The name of that movie, He's Had a Goddamn Enough.
But it really does. It goes back to saying teachers are not appreciated for how difficult of a job they have. And that's true. I don't care where you are, whether it's Rowlett High School or South Central LA. The job is hard.
Yes.
Or I don't, Dan, I believe I sent you this news article. In the and this can't be a surprise as to what state it is. There's one state where teachers are just saying screw it, and they're leaving the state. And he guesses.
Oh wow. Okay, so you said there was no surprise as to where it was. So I'm gonna go out on a limb with this show and go, is it our favorite state, Florida?
Absolutely.
Congratulations. Ding, 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 ding.
They're just leaving. They're just like, well, we're done teaching.
Basically, yeah, they're like we're leaving. There's greener pastures elsewhere.
Yeah, this guy's got kicking a chair, and they're like kicking counties.
Alabama is looking good to Florida teachers.
Oh God, that's a frightening thought. You know, where we're going, the education mecca of the United States.
Yeah, because I mean, like Davy Crockett said, "You may all go to hell, and I'm going to Texas." Florida teachers are saying, "We're going to Alabama."
You're listening to The Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com. You're listening to The Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
This segment of The Treehouse brought to us by Brooks Plumbing, our dear friends and sponsors at Brooks Plumbing. For any and all of your plumbing needs, call 214-368-3838. That's 214-368-3838. Or, of course, the website, brooksplumbingtexas.com. That's brooksplumbingtexas.com. I got that story that you sent, Trey, pulled up. The headline does its job. Teachers say they can't live and work in Florida anymore. They start with a teacher named Philip Belcastro. He looked around his belongings piled with the storage unit. Boxes of books, a mattress, clothes, and old instruments from his past life as a musician were cluttered together. This is my entire life in a 10 by 10 storage unit, he said, laughing. The St. Petersburg high school English teacher moved out of his apartment this summer after rent increased to more than half of his monthly pay. Reluctant to leave the community, cost of living got out of control. And the schools suck. And when they say the schools, you know they mean the kids.
Yes.
When they say the kids and the schools, a lot of times it's the parents. Because the parents can be way worse than the kids because parents think their kids are little angels.
Or they're aware. Like I joke about things on stage like this. And I'm like, because I'll ask teachers. I'm like, I go, and they're reluctant to do it, but I have to remind them that they're in a safe space. I'm like, so you're a teacher? Yeah. What grade? I'm like 6. I'm like, who's your favorite student? Oh, so and so. Immediately they have their favorite student. I go, who's the worst? And they go, oh, I can't say. I go, I know, but you want to, so say it. And immediately the name comes out. And I go, are the parents nice and he's a dick, or are they just all dicks? And 9 times out of 10, they're all dicks. Like the parents are the same way as the kid. And then sometimes it's just you have one bad kid, and he just ruins the whole class. The thing is, like, you hear about these problems here, like in India and in Asia, especially. Like your teachers can in class beat you, like still till this day.
My teachers can in class beat you. They did in class beat you.
Yeah, it turns out, Trey, you and I went to Mumbai ISD.
No, it's like here, because corporal punishment was around when we were kids as well. So it's like if you did something wrong, you went to the principal's office, and here's what it was. Oh,
no,
you didn't go.
No. Oh,
Okay.
no. It started with the teacher would put you in front of the class and they had paddles. They would swat you. Then I would get sent to the principal's office and then he would take a shot. Then it would be to the coach's office for football practice, swat, and then home to grab belt.
and it was Dad's turn. Because you know what? Belt got to eat too. And that was growing up at a certain time. Now, and this is an interesting dynamic because there is now loads of research that psychologists and psychiatrists and social workers and experts and children have come to say, don't do that because it's ultimately damaging to your children. And I will say, I am damaged because of a lot of the things that happened to me as a child, abuse-wise. At the same time, I was also really well-mannered.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
At a certain point, it's like, well, where do we find the balance? You know, it's like, okay, you can deal with a little bit of childhood trauma that'll carry over into your adult years. But at the same time, I want you to sit down and shut up on occasion.
Yeah, I mean, but that's also, I mean, we can call it abuse, whatever. Like I was at a department store last night getting some stuff for Christmas, and I watched this kid have an utter meltdown over the fact that they were going to put him in a timeout when he got home. And I was like, man, I would have killed for a timeout.
No kidding. I remember going to a kid's house one time, and he got in trouble, and his parents said, "You go sit in the corner. You go timeout." And I'm like, "Timeout?"
Yeah.
My only reference to timeout was when my mom would tag in my dad.
Yeah. My mom would get winded, and she'd be like, "Okay, timeout."
And I hate to say this, but I'm going to say it because it's an old man phrase. But in my day, a timeout wasn't for the kids; it was for the adults.
Yeah, no, my dad's timeout was he had to go smoke a Carlton and then come back and finish the job.
Turns out Carltons are not, they're not just for enjoyment; they also give you energy.
I'm gonna smoke this cigarette. I'm gonna smoke your ass. Like what? That's so weird. It's a weird thing to say, Dad.
Let me throw this out there. If you happen to be a teacher and you need to blow off some steam, I have the perfect time and place for you to do so, in your own safe space, and that is at our Treehouse Podcast Christmas Roadshow at Shakerton's on Saturday. This Saturday, December 9th, 4 to 7 p.m. So that means you can come hang out with us, have a good time. You can possibly enjoy the roast of me and that's after the actual taping of the show. And some drinks will be had. There's food there. We'll have some merch. Scheduled to appear, in addition to the three of us, will be Jerry Caldwell. Everett Newton is kind of a maybe, depending on his health. And then also Anna DeHaro is going to be there. And word is she's going to be partaking in some roasting, which I'm mildly afraid of because she can be vicious like a drunk chihuahua when she wants to be. And so it's going to be a great time. So as a teacher, you can come blow off some steam in your own safe space, or you can say and do pretty much whatever you want. I think Shakertons may require you to wear pants, but I'm not certain. So don't hold it against me.
Yeah,
So
I'm pretty sure
that's Saturday at Shakertons, 4 to 7, and you can bring a toy for a special needs child that we'll have up that you can see the type of toys that they need at the Warren Center. Go ahead, Rush.
Yeah, I was just saying. I think the whole axe throwing phenomenon was based on a teacher's idea. It was like, how do I kill my students without killing my students? Axe throwing, because it's the only thing I've ever seen where they serve alcohol and let you hold an axe. Like I've never seen those two things go well. But
yeah, I think if I was the parent of a child that brought home the permission slip for the school trip to go to the axe throwing place, I'd be like, okay. Whatever happened to the Museum of Natural History or, IMAX?
Yeah, it's I'm Axe. That's exactly right.
I don't know if third grade is appropriate to go to the place called the Chop House. I don't know if I should be signing this. Meanwhile, some parents are like, yeah, take your brother too. Here you go.
Here's my wife.
What happened to just losing them on the field trip?
Like the good old days.
It's the good old days. Another kid lost tonight at 10. It's a real pandemic we got here. And not everyone knows this, but that's why they had to institute the policy of permission slips, because it wasn't so much a permission slip to go on the trip. It was a permission for the teachers to lose your child.
Something's got to go on the back of a milk carton.
Otherwise, it's just a bunch of white space. Man, I'm glad it's ramping up to the Christmas season, because I have a feeling by New Year's we're all going to be in hell. Oh man, I love it inside the Treehouse. Mention it again, Shakerton, Saturday, 4 to 7 p.m. Bring a new unwrapped toy for a disabled child, or special needs, I should say. Some are disabled, some special needs. It kind of runs the gamut. Birth to age 3, and the roast of me. We'll have some fun there, and a live taping of this here Treehouse, so you can see all the hell-inducing in person with alcohol in the Treehouse. We'll see you there.
See you.